Hey friends, welcome to my final decorating tutorial of my countdown to Christmas. All week long, I have been releasing cookie recipes and decorating tutorials, and I hope that this has been useful for you. Today is my advanced technique day, and as an amateur, untrained recreational baker, I am really pushing my skills to the limit with these techniques today. So they use multiple icing colors, multiple icing consistencies, and lots of precision piping. So my cookies might not all be perfect, but I think they're still really cute. It was a lot of fun to do, and I hope you give it a try. So if you do try these out, please tag me in your post on Instagram. I would love to see how your cookies worked. And while you're here today, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. In the new year, I'm going to be releasing a lot more recipe videos and a lot more decorating tutorials, and I don't want you to miss out. Enjoy this video. For these cookies, you'll need quite a few different colors and consistencies, so reference this table, and if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. This was my first year making this Santa cookie design, so I started out by tracing my cookie cutter on a piece of paper and then just kind of sketching out what I wanted it to look like. From there, I'm using a number 2 tip for the red and white icings, just kind of following the perimeter of the cookie, making a bushy beard, and then using a toothpick to even out the icing. You can do these 2 or 3 at a time once you get comfortable. For some of them I put sugar on the hats just for a little extra sparkle, and some of them I just left plain, so entirely up to you. And now after drying, I'm going in with my thick white royal icing and the number 21 tip. This is the same method used on my wreath cookie, but you can see here the icing is thicker, so the peak is really just drying completely upright versus collapsing. To make the mustache, I'm using the same white icing I used for the beard, and it's basically just squeezing the tip and pulling backward very slowly to let the bead of icing kind of build up, and then going in with my black icing and doing just 2 upward arches for the happy eyes. And lastly, finishing him off with a pink smile. To make the ears, you kind of pipe the tilde shape, so it's just a little squiggle, and then you make a U down below that, so leaving a hole in the middle so that we can go back and fill it with pink later. And then where the ears meet the middle of the torso, around the gingerbread man's waist, just draw the antlers up, and there's really no set number of points that you need to have on there. It's just kind of whatever you feel like. I do like to draw the antlers working from the bottom to the top. It's easier that way to have a taper so that the tips are thinner than the base. So after drying, I'm just going in and filling in the pink part of the ear, smoothing it out with a toothpick, and then drawing the shape of the face. So the face is kind of like a guitar almost, so it's a circle on top and a circle on bottom, and they're connected. So just using the toothpick to smooth it out, and then obviously the assembly line style saves a lot of time, so if you're comfortable doing a few at once, by all means line them up. And the lower half of the face is pretty much all nose, so you can make it as big as you want to. The nose is basically just a rounded corner triangle, putting a little white line on the top of it while it's still wet for the kind of shine, so this is a wet on wet, and then piping the eyes. The eyes, you can use the same kind of approach as the mustache on the Santa, so it's squeezing and letting a bead build and then slowly drawing the tip backward. For the Christmas trees, I'm starting by piping the trunk up the center. So the approach I'm using for putting down the green, I thought there might be some gaps where the trunk would show through. So rather than doing just all one flat level of green, I'm doing multiple levels of this kind of green zigzag pattern. And my goal with this was just to have a little bit more height and dimension and kind of some additional character. Once I felt like there was a little bit of height built up, I went back and did the entire cookie in one pass, just so that it wouldn't be too rough looking. After allowing the green to dry, I'm piping on the string for the lights in a zigzag formation. You can do as many zigzags as you want to, and then going in with as many colors as you want to for the light bulbs. So the method I found that works best for getting the light bulbs to look more like light bulbs and not just round blobs is to go in kind of at a 45-degree angle, and if you give the bag a little bit of a squeeze and then pull backward, it actually elongates the blob of icing and makes it look kind of like one of those vintage Christmas light bulbs. And as I was piping the light bulbs, I was trying to alternate above and below for each color, so it got a little bit confusing going around the zigzags because I couldn't keep straight what was on top and what was on bottom, but I don't think anyone's really going to notice, and it still looks cute. The finishing touch is just to pipe the star on the top of the tree. I found it worked best to pipe each of the arms of the star separately, otherwise the icing got a little bit too thick and blobbed together. So just start in the center and go up, then do one swoop across and then kind of an up caret motion, and you can fill in the gap between the center of the star and the top of the tree.